Hey, coaches, welcome back to Football Talk with Coach Chip. This episode here is brought to you, like all the others, by Just Play Sports Solutions. They've been powering the diagrams that you've seen on Football Talk with Coach Chip since 2021. Today we're going to talk about adjust your offensive line splits to manipulate the defensive front. Let's get going. All right. Just Play Sports Solutions, I swear by my Just Play that I've been using since 2021. All play diagrams and on all the videos here on Football Talk with Coach Chip have been by them since 2021. I drew them, but using their app, their program, whatever you want to call it. Y'all know I'm not a computer guru. You can find them at myjustplay.com. You can create your playbooks. Like I've done. I've got hundreds of different files with all kind of different things, and that's what I pull up when I'm presenting to you. You can do your scout cards. You can do game plans. You can do scouting reports, and you can do them so much more faster. The scout cards, you don't have to print them anymore. You can put them on your iPad or tablet, whatever it is you use, and just show it to the kids. You can color code them, like tell the right guard, you're red today. You do everything the red guy does. Tell the tailback, you're green. Wherever green is, that's what you do. And just show it to them. Kids today are visual learners. And if you buy the team program, the players will get an app on their phone, so you don't have to worry about printing a playbook, game plan, scouting report anymore, and you know they're always going to have it with them on the way to the game. They're on their phone listening to music. They could be on their app going over the game plan. It's always with them. You can also attach video to the plays where you show them what they're doing and then show them a video clip and bring that play to life. You can upload those clips from Huddle or Quick Cut. And, again, since players never go anywhere, kids today don't go anywhere without those phones, so they're always going to have the playbook, the game plan, the scouting report with them. Contact my buddy, Coach Brad Rumsey, former college offensive line coach, works for my Just Play Sports Solutions. You can hit old Brad up at brumsey@justplayss.com. You can see it there at the bottom of the screen, or you can hit him up by phone, 517-937-5433. And when you talk to Coach Rumsey, you tell him old Coach Chip sent you. The GPS system still going strong. It's only $100, but here's the kicker. I'll send it to you. And then you look at it, take it for a test drive. That's how confident I am in the system. I just sent all the several hundred system owners their update that is promised to come. I'm going to do one, maybe two a year. It just depends. The GPS system has been out since February maybe, and I just updated it at the beginning of May. Everybody got the update, and it's just more of the same good stuff. It all goes together. Check it out. You got to have a system, y'all. You just can't have a bunch of plays that you think are cool. Okay? It's got to be a system where you'll always have answers. Try it out today and see if you want to be a system owner. The gun power spread system is what we used all those years, winning all those games, those region championships, the state championships. We used this system, or technically this system came out of all that. After we started doing it, I said, this is a pretty good system, because we were very careful not just put something in and just because we thought it was cool. No, we thought it was cool, but that ain't the reason we put it in. It's because it went with the other things in the system. So check it out today, siegel.chip@gmail.com, and say, Coach, I want to try that cockeyed thing out. Send it to me. I'm confident that you'll love it, and I'm confident that if you don't love it, you'll delete it and keep watching Football Talk with Coach Chip and eventually find something that will help you out. The offensive line manual is available in paperback form. It's been out for 2 years in ebook, but now it's paperback. You can find it on Amazon.com, or if you want to hit me up, it's just $30. I'll send it to you. It won't charge you any shipping, just $30. I'll cover the shipping on my end because I just want to get the books in people's hands. I'm doing a clinic this summer with some youth league coaches, and I'm going to sell those guys the books at reduced rate just because I want them to have a copy of the book because I think it will help them, and by helping them, it'll help the kids. So if you want to buy the paperback, if you don't have the ebook yet, buy the paperback, take a screenshot of your order, or hit me up at siegel.chip@gmail.com and say, Coach, I want the paperback. Send me the ebook too. Here's why you want both. The paperback, I made it where it's got good margins in it where you can write in it. That's what it's got, a working book. And you can highlight it. And then you take the ebook, bring it up on the projector, on the screen, and you can present it to your players, to your linemen, or share it with your coaches. If you're the head coach or the OC and you want your O-line coach to have this would be a great end of the year gift for your offensive line coach. And then you have the ebook where he can present it to the kids. And the ebook is a Google slide. So the same as PowerPoint, which means you can put it on presentation mode and present it. That's pretty cool. All right, be sure to subscribe today to the channel, 100% free, no strings attached. Football Talk with Coach Chip. Hit that subscription button and look here. All these resources available to you for free just for subscribing. And all the diagrams and all of these, except for these playbooks that I've collected over the years, and I've got more of them, but these are the ones that seem to be the most popular. But all 10 through 60, well, no, 12 through 60 are all done by Just Play Sports Solutions diagrams. It's the easiest drawing tool I've used, and I've used them all. So check that out today as well. Be sure to listen to the podcast. You can Football Talk with Coach Chip, the podcast. You can find it on Spotify, Apple, and all the other podcatchers. I went and looked a while back, and it's like on 6 or 7 podcatchers that I've never even heard of. But my guests are guys just like you. College coaches, JUCO coaches. I had a strength and conditioning guy from a D1 school, high school coaches, middle school coaches, youth coaches. Coaches just like you. 90% of coaches are coaching at small schools or at sub-varsity level programs. And that's what I want to appeal to. I've had 3A coordinators on. I've had 2A coordinators on, 1A head coaches, rec league, youth league guys, because that's what it's all about. All right, let's get started. I'm getting better. I'm keeping it under 8 minutes. It's right at 8 minutes now for the intro. Adjusting your offensive line splits. Why should you adjust them? Well, you see the 2 diagrams. They were also on the title card. The guy in red on the left, the guy in blue on the right are the guys we're trying to adjust to make them move. And I made a list. There may be more. Hit me up in the comments if you know other reasons that you would adjust your offensive line splits. These are just off the top of my head. And I was on my run this morning and I was listening to a podcast. I want to say it was, I can't even remember. I listened to so many of them. And this came to me, I've done a video on splits. My buddy Kenny calls them smart splits. And there was somebody else several years ago, I heard on a podcast, I'm like 10 years ago. I think he called them smart splits or intelligent splits. And I got to thinking, back in the 90s when we were still, before we went wing T, when we were in I formation and triple option team, we used to do that. I was the offensive line coach for this guy that was a former offensive line coach and offensive coordinator at a big 6A state championship team in Alabama before he took over this program and hired me to be his O-line coach. And he did this at the point of attack. I had never done that. Now, I was an old triple option guy, so we had adjusted our splits on the read. As you can see, the second bullet, isolate the key read on an option play. So, like, this is my power read play that you've seen. If you haven't seen it, go back, check it out. That's good stuff, cuz. So what we did, look, the tackle splits just a little bit further than the other guy's splits. Why? The quarterback's reading him. So that's just an old thing that we did back in the 80s and the 90s. And I know we did it in the 70s when I played. I remember my line coach telling us when I was a tackle and then a tight end my senior year. So I was that guy that would adjust. If I was on the split inside, they say, widen out. And I say, how far? They said, widen out a little bit each time until he quits going with you. I'm not suggesting that, but we were running split back veer. And then when I started coaching in the 80s, I kept doing it. We would just widen those jokers out. It's like when we ran outside veer, we'd take those tight ends and get them wide because we were reading that end man on the line of scrimmage, just like we are right here on the power read, the diagram on the left, top left. Now over here, this is an old school fullback trap, wing T, the way we used to run it. We were under center before the system evolved into what we do today and what we did for all those championships. And we would teach the guard on the trap side, especially against an even front, to widen out. And we do it against an odd front too with the tackle. Widen out that, because that's the guy we're kicking. There were times we could widen that joker out. If he didn't squeeze like a son of a gun, we didn't have to trap him because he would just take himself out of the play. You put defensive kids in a bind when you start playing with your splits. Now, I don't recommend doing this with a very young, inexperienced line, but if your kids are pretty football savvy, you can do things like this. And you don't got to have the whole line in on it. If you got one kid that's really savvy, that could be the one. So let's look at the points again. I get off and digress and get to talking about this. I can tell this stuff excites me. I'm an old offensive line guy. You know good and far well, man. This gets me pumped up. I had to get me a swig of sweet tea. It's warm down here in the deep south today. In May, we're going to have one whale of a summer. All right, first off, widen the point of attack. I told you we did that. We do it on an isolation play, on a basic lead, to widen the point of attack. Number two, to isolate the key read on an option play. You're reading the DN, widen your tackle or your tight end. If you're in a tight end formation, widen him out a little bit and see if that read will go with him. Makes the read so much easier. I'm going to show you some video of teams running option and running other things, running power, and where they're widening their splits, and you can see the difference in splits, and sometimes tightening their splits. We'll talk about that too. Another reason to adjust your OL splits is to make a dominant defender a line further away from the point of attack. I remember years ago, the kid I'm about to talk about, he's not a kid anymore, he's near about 40. He just retired from the NFL a few years ago. He played for us down in South Alabama, and teams would run away from him. Well, we were playing a team one night. He played defensive end. He was a 5-tech, 9-tech if there was a tight end. And he could squeeze, They would come up, find Steve, and run away from him. Well, here's the issue. They were an I formation team, a lot like we were, running midline and veer option. He'd run it down from behind. And it got me to thinking, because I'm an old OL guy anyway, I said, what would I do against Steve? I know what I'd have done. I'd have widened him out as far as I could have got him. So if we were going to run inside veer to the split inside and him being the strong side DN, I would take that defensive end and the tackle and widen them out, widen their splits a little bit to take Steve further away from the point of attack. So sometimes you do it on the backside of a play. If you can make that 5-tech, nowadays everybody's running spread stuff, and widen him out enough where he can't run you down from the backside, then it's worth adjusting your OL splits. And you got to be smart with it. And the other thing too, before I go any further, you can go as wide as they'll go, the defense, but you got to remember, you can't get so wide that your kids can't execute their block. Like up here at the top left, you don't want to get that tackle so wide he can't block down on that Mike backer. Or if it's a 3-tech that he's blocking down on, you want to widen him out a little bit, but if you widen him out too far, the 3-tech may shoot upfield. And so think about that too. You got to think about how far will the defense go with you? And then can your kids still execute their block? Another reason to do it, to shorten the distance for a block or a read. I was reading about Georgia Tech, and they would tighten the split on their midline because they wanted to, they said their quarterback had trouble making the read. So they would tighten, I believe it was to the nose side, to the A-gap defensive lineman side. So if they got a wide split there, they said it kind of clouded up the read for him. So they would even tighten their split up on some of their options. Another reason to tighten your two your two offensive linemen that will execute a double team block. We did that the last few years I was coaching. We ran a lot of duo. With the guys that were executing the block, the duos would tighten their split so they could come together as one better. And you say, well, don't teams pick up on that? We never had that issue. Remember, you're playing against high school kids and lower maybe for some of y'all. We never had that issue. And you just adjust it. You're real nonchalant. You're not making a big deal out of it and yelling at each other. Hey, man, the kids knew it, so they just tighten up their split. A couple of times they got so good at it that as they'd go down, they'd adjust their split. As they were going down, they'd scoot their feet in closer together. So you can do it. I promise you it'll work. Another reason to do it, create bigger gaps for the defense to defend. And then, of course, to force the defense you are kicking, to force the defensive player, left that word out, you are kicking to play wider, expanding the point of attack, like on the trap up here in the upper right. We've expanded that. Now, you don't want to make it so wide that your guard can't execute the block. But you do want to widen it out. Now, you say, what's the advantage of that, Coach? That backer right there, upper right-hand corner, y'all look. That backer now has a much bigger gap to defend. And, and if it's the Mike backer, that's usually the bigger, more physical of your two inside backers. Maybe he's not as mobile as some backers might be because he is the Mike backer and he's a plugger from B to B. A lot of teams do that. From B gap to B gap, they just want a guy that can plug it. Sometimes your Mike backers are just undersized nose guards. Well, now you're making that kid who's used to playing inside, you're making him play in space inside because you're creating space. All right, let's look at a few diagrams. I'm going to show off the My Just Play thing. All right, let's look at this. This is one of our base formations that we used a lot. This one in the GPS terminology would be slot, because your your Z's on the left, slot puts him on the left. Right puts the H in a right wing back, and the tight end is always opposite him unless you call it differently, okay? Always opposite the Z. And the back is always opposite the H unless you call stack. So let's look at it this way. So we're going to run, let's say, gut. All right, this is the wrap play where this guy's going to wrap to right here. So what we want to do is take that 3-tech, widen his fanny a little bit. Now look at the gap the Mike has to defend. And you'll just subtle about it. And look here. Just turn out right there. It's just that simple. All right. Then you got your down block or your back block right here by your center, right there. All right, you got your wrapper right here. And then your back's going to hit it right here. Look at that big old gap. Just by adjusting your split. Everybody else blocks what they normally block on the play. It's just like the trap that I showed you a while ago. All right, let's look at another one. All right, now here you see this is the fullback trap, a blown up version. I've already adjusted the split. The play side guard has split out a tad bit further than usual. Now this is where you got to ask yourself, if I split him out, if I expand the split, now this is a case of you're moving the guy you're kicking or the guy you're trapping further away from the point of attack, and you're also expanding the point of attack, the right side A gap. But you got to ask yourself, can this kid right here, can he still execute his block? And this is what you got to do in practice, coach. Can he get to the mic? Okay, can he get to the mic? Or can he get to the backside backer if that's where you're doing it and letting that tackle come over the top right there and get him? You got to ask yourself, can they still execute their block? Can the trapping guard still do it? I know a lot of you don't run wing T. You say, this isn't helping me. Then I can't help you if you can't use your imagination and see how you can make this work in a spread when you're running a tackle dart to the right side, and instead of the guard pulling, it's the tackle kicking the end right here. And by widening this guy out, you got to use your imagination, coaches. Come on, we were all boys one time. We played with our G.I. Joes. Well, some of us did. Some of us older ones. Some of you young guys right now say, what the crap? That's a movie. No, it was also a action figure. It's like the original action figure from back in the day. The cool ones were the Kung Fu grip. I love those. Kung Fu grip were friggin' awesome. And the beard, yes, sir. So you can see we've moved him. We've widened the point of attack, expanded it, and we've also moved the guy that we're trapping further away. And now look, you're hitting that thing right here, hugging those down blocks. Look how far away he is. So you see what I'm talking about? Sorry about the pause. I had to get up and go shut the back door. My back door neighbor's back there getting his grass mowed. This little town of 1,500 people sure can get loud sometimes. All right, let's go look at another one. I'm going to show you a few video clips. And this is definitely going 30 minutes. But hey, y'all been watching them at 30. Like I said, you got the pause button. Cockeyed. All right, so we're looking at this. Let's just look at the formation. I'm not going to draw a bunch of lines and all that kind of stuff. But I want you to see what I'm talking about. Let's say we're going to run buck or zone right, something to the right, and we want to read the backside defensive end. So we'll tell our tackle to widen out a little bit, and that widens out the read. It widens out the read right here. So we're reading this cat. Let's go ahead and change his color. I'm showing off for you here. All right, so now he will come in here, and your quarterback will read this guy. And if he squeezes, quarterback can keep it. But the other advantage is this. You may want to just say, hey, we're not going to read him. We're just going to widen out. We don't think he can get it. And we're going to give it to this guy right here on the gut or on the buck or the pin and pull or whatever you're running. Because we don't believe he can run it down because we've widened his fanny out. So you can widen the point of attack. You can isolate the key read on an option play. Like I said, we're going to run option here. Okay? So this guy's going to come here and be the pitch. Say it's that power toss everybody's in love with right now. Right here. And then he's going to come right here and read him. But see, we've isolated him. As long as the rest of our linemen, especially the tackle, can still execute their block, we're in good shape. And the way I like to do it, with the power, we're going to pull that backside cat right here. Let's bring him back in normal. So we pull him right here. And we've expanded this hole and the key read. And you'll see, I'm going to show you some option in a little bit where it works great for old school option, but it worked great too for new school option as well. To make a dominant defender a line further away, like I was telling you earlier, let's say we're going to run buck right here. And my quarterback's not a real great runner, and I don't want to read this guy, widen him out so he can't run the buck down. Like I was telling you we did with our guy, that I would have done with Steve. He was a whale of a player. He played in the NFL for like 10 years, 10 or 12 years. Won a Super Bowl ring with the Bucks back in 20. Great high school football player, good college player, good pro player. But what would you do to handle him? The old saying is, you got a dominant guy that's real aggressive. You can kick him, you can read him, or you can run away from him, but you may have to widen your splits to get him. To shorten the distance for a block, like say we're going to double team right here on the nose. We'll tighten these guys up so now the center and the guard are already good to go to become one to get hip to hip. All right, to tighten your 2 OL that way execute double team block, well, I just showed you. Okay, you may want to do this to a 2I. If you're running power, you'll see a team do that where now the center doesn't have to go as far to block back. That works well. Create bigger gaps for the defense to defend, like we were talking about right here, like we were talking about on the trap earlier. And to force the defense, the defender that you're kicking to play wider, expanding the point of attack. All of these are good. All right, let's look at some video. On this one, the blue team here with their butts to us are going to run veer, like old split back veer, but they're doing it out of a wing T alignment. Look at the split. They're going to hit right here. And they're going to read this guy right here. So they widened out their tackle out to here, and now he's going to do this. And it gets the read further away from the quarterback, further away from the mesh, because he's going to kind of go right here. The running back is. Because the way he's lined up, in true veer, he'd be in here, veering right there. So let's look. See the read with his hand down? See the read so far away. And you say, well, they ended up keeping it. Yeah, but the read, you're making the read a little easier for the quarterback by getting that distance. That's my point. You can see how wide the tight end is right here from the tackle. Again, what's he doing? There's a guy he's reading right here, but the other two reads, the pitch read, is out here because they widen them out, making the quarterback's read easier. And this is another reason you use adjustable splits, smart splits, intelligent splits, whatever you want to call them. There you go. I hope y'all don't mind that I've tightened it up to show you the point of attack, and you won't be able to see the whole play on a lot of these, but it's because we're not looking at the play, we're looking at the splits. And look at this one. Good Lord. That's what you call a split. Watch. That's the read. The wider split widened the read out, so now the quarterback has got more time. Anytime you can extend the mesh, whether you're under center, flex bone, split back veer, or running zone read from the gun, if you can extend the mesh time and do it through your splits, you're making life easier on your quarterback. There you go. Now this isn't drastic. They're going to run a trap, but I want you to see this split and this split are a little bit wider than that split right there. This guy is going to pull trap. He's going to block back, and they've expanded the point of attack by doing this. There you go. All right, now this is fascinating to me. Look how wide, this is the backside. You can't see him because I've got it blown up so you can see what's going on the inside. But the 5 tech is way outside out here, outside the backside tackle. So they've taken him further away from the point of attack by expanding this split. His split is a little bit more normal, and he's going to set same trap we saw a while ago, just a different clip of it. He's widened out right here, the play side guard, to extend this. So look, pre-snap, look at the hole they've created. Okay, with their splits. Okay, watch. See, a lot of that was caused, y'all, by splits. That guy right there, number 99, that misses him, the reason he missed him is because that's the 5 tech. He was way the heck outside of the offensive tackle right here. He was outside of that. Now look, if the tackle did not have that bigger adjusted split, he makes the play. Watch. Sometimes, they say football's a game of inches. Those extra inches helped out. Okay, here's a version of our gut play. This is probably a zone call for the offensive line. He's going to wrap right through here, and they're getting a double team right here. This is a case of tightening up your split to make for a better double team block. See what I mean? All right, watch. So instead of wrapping that guard, they doubled. And the reason they tightened up their split was so they have a better double. And they widened their split here, so he's just going to turn out on this cat, and then this guy's going to wrap through on number 4. So it's kind of like a zone insert, or whatever it is you call it. That's good stuff, cuz. All right, same play from the backside. You can see there's your double team. There's your expanded A gap right here because he's cheated out some. All he's got to do is turn out. I'm not going to say I could have do it right now, but I guarantee you 15, 20 years ago, I could have made that block. All you got to do is just go boop. Look at that. And this is just smart coaching by the offensive line coach and the OC. And they adjusted their splits. Better double team, so they're comboing to right here. He's wrapping to right here. They got a hat for a hat. You can't ask for much better than that, Hoss. This is what adjustable splits can do for you. Like my old papa used to tell me, son, sometimes it's not about working hard. It's about working smart. Now, based on what we've already talked about, where do you think the point of attack is? Because you got a tight split here. I mean, the right guard and the center. You got a normal split back over here, normal split back over here on the left side. Look at that split. If you're saying it's probably going there, you say, well, Coach, if I figured it out, yeah, but we got it paused, y'all. We're not doing this in the course of the game, as we like to say, with live bullets flying. These kids got to identify that now. So what do you think they're going to run? You think they're going to hit it right here? Maybe. But now this is a cool way of doing it. Remember what I said about isolating the read? Isolate the read by having a wider split. Now watch. This is good stuff. Oop, there's the read, and they got him out here on an island. You're taking a defensive lineman that used to playing in the trenches. Now you're making his butt play in space. I know he's a DN, but he's still an outside backer. He's not a DB. He does not make a living in space. And you've put him in space with this split. Now he's got to crap or get off the pot. All right, because I talked about him, I couldn't let it go without showing you a little Georgia Tech when Paul Johnson was there. And you say, well, Coach, I don't see a really big split. They're all big, y'all. They're all big. They widen their splits out to make the read easier for the quarterback. It's like slowing the game down. You know how I used to, like the great ones, like Michael Jordan said, the game was just in slow. You ever seeing the game in slow motion? By widening your splits, if you're running read plays, you're slowing the game down for your quarterback. So if you get in there foot to foot or 1 foot splits, these reads, instead of being out here, would be in here. If they tightened up 1 foot splits, that DN would be where the 3 tech is. Y'all see what I'm talking about? Now watch what happens when we let it go. See the DN's he's reading the DN. The DN's all the way out here, and he's got to come in here to play the dive. The quarterback's got all that time and space to read number 91. Same thing applies if you're running it from gun and running a zone read, or running power read to the front side or the back side, or counter read, whatever the read is. It's the same principle. Read principles haven't changed. We've just changed the formations. Option read football has not changed. See the quarterback right now is eyeballing that sucker. And he's got more time to decide. There you go. Again, another case of a smart offensive line coach with good kids playing for him. Look at the defense. They're running it now to the 1. He's shaded to the left side of the center. This kid knows he's got to come down and help on him. So he's tightened up his splits. Look at the splits of the rest of them. All right, I'm going to go ahead and tell you the play's coming right here. All right, look at the split right there. 91 again is way out here. He's pretty heavy, 5. Now you got all that space to cover right there. But what about the backside? By widening out, look, he can't run it down because look how wide he is from the point of attack. He's way out here. So when that backside tackle comes right here and he squeezes, he's got too far to go, cuz. Too far to go. That's a bridge too far. Look, see? Look at the distance between the trailing defensive end when the pitch is made and the quarterback. Look at the distance. Look at that. All right, that's it for this episode of Football Talk with Coach Chip. I took you a little bit long today, but hey, you can watch it in segments. That's fine with me. Opportunity to support good old Coach Chip and Football Talk with Coach Chip. buymeacoffee.com/Coach Chip. Head over there if you want to show your appreciation. Don't forget, I'm available for Google Meets. That's what I prefer over the Zoom. It's a little bit easier for me. Over 40 years of coaching experience is just an email away. All you got to do is hit me up. We'll get together. We'll talk about remuneration, and we'll do whatever it is you want to do. Preferably one of the things you've seen here on Football Talk with Coach Chip, because I don't talk about things I don't know about. All right, so and I'm available to you as an analyst for your staff for this upcoming season. Check it out. Don't forget, head over to Just Play Sports Solutions. You can hit my buddy up, Brad Rumsey, at brumsey@justplayss.com. That, guys, you can't beat the My Just Play app. I believe in it. All right, until next time, y'all, be elite. All video clips contained on Football Talk with Coach Chip are meant for analysis, criticism, comment, teaching, and research by football coaches. We believe this falls under the fair use doctrine of the Copyright Act, Section 107.